Welcome you back in the Leaders Odyssey online homeschooling system. Its subject Computer Science, Grade 6, Module 5, Analyzing Data, Task 2, Functions, Week 23rd. The learning objectives for today's lectures are functions that include count, today, now. The first function, count. The count function returns the numbers of the cells. That cells may contain text, that cells may contain numbers, or that cells may be blank. It returns the number of the cells. The syntax for count function is, as you know that formulas of Excel always starts with equal to sign, name of the function count, opening bracket, the cell from where you want to start counting, colon sign, and the cell till where you want to count the cell, then closing bracket and hit enter key.
The first way we can count is to use a function that counts all the cells that have numbers in them. So here we have 5 cells. One has text, one is blank, and there are 3 with numbers. In this cell, I'll type an equal sign to start a formula, and then I'm going to use the function count, C-O-U-N-T, open bracket, and then I'm going to select all 5 cells and press enter, and it counted only the cells that had numbers. The next function that we can use will count cells that contain any kind of data. So here I'll type equals, and then the function count A. Open bracket, select all the cells, press enter, and now the count is 4 because it also included the cell that has text in it. Sometimes we need to count blank cells, so there's a special function for that. Equal sign, count blank. Open bracket, then select all the cells again, press enter, and it only shows 1 because there's only one blank cell.
Dear students, now you have watched the video how to use the count function in Microsoft Excel. Again, I will repeat, the count function returns the number of the cells. The number of the cells that contains text, the number of the cells that contains numbers, the number of the cells that are blank. It depends on your choice that what you want. You want to calculate the number of the cells that are blank, or that contains text, or that contains numbers. You can insert or you can use the count function from the home tab as well. Let me show you. Microsoft Excel is opened in front of you. A table is presented here. We are in the home tab. You can see over here the auto sum. We will click over here. A drop down list appears in front of us. Then we will click on count numbers. Then select the cell from where you want to count till the last cell. For example, you can see over here we will select from A2 till E9. We want to calculate the number of the cells that we have selected the area. I leave these while I selected, then I left and I press enter key. You can see over here it is in front of you. 28 cells are filled with data. That data may be text or that may be numbers. Now you have learned the count function. It's time to learn today function of Microsoft Excel. TODAY, today function. Today is a function that returns the computer's date. It's a function that takes no arguments. No arguments means inside of the parentheses you will not have any data. That will be blank. It means you cannot change or add any information in it. But remember one thing, Every time you open your file, the cell with today's date will be automatically updated. So you will not have to change or update your date every time you need your file to be used or when you open your file, because the computer system, the today function, will automatically update the date of your file itself, the date that will be displayed into your computer system, that will be used in the specific or specified cell as well. Now let's see how to use the today function in Microsoft Excel practically.
The today function. The today function returns the current date. It can be used to calculate the difference between two dates or count down to a future date. I have two examples that I'd like to show you. The first example, we will calculate the number of years an employee has worked for our company. So I'll start with cell C2, and I'm going to type the today function in. It's equals the word today and open and close parenthesis. Hit the Enter key, and you'll see the current dates displayed. As we click on the current date, notice the formula bar is displaying the formula. So what this means is tomorrow will be the 18th, and this will update the date to the current day. So to build this function, what we're going to need to do is to subtract Suzanne's hire date, and then we'll divide it by 365.25. I'm going to go ahead and double click on C2, and that'll open up the function, and I'm going to use the subtraction, and I'm going to subtract Suzanne's hire date, divide by 365.25, and then I'm going to go ahead and hit Enter. So you can see it's formatted as a date. So what we need to do is right click on the value, go down to Format Cells, and from here let's change it to maybe like a general formatting. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And this doesn't look correct at all. It looks like it's 41,591. And that is true. So let me go ahead and double click on the formula again. Now there is an order of operations in Excel. So division comes before subtraction. So what's happening is this piece is getting calculated before this piece here. So what we need to do is use parentheses in between the subtraction. So now what's going to happen is Excel's going to calculate this part of the formula first, and then it's going to divide by 365.25. Let's go ahead and hit Enter. So I'll go ahead and I'll decrease these place values. And I can go ahead and copy this down. The other option we have is we can count down to a future date. I'm going to go ahead and put in the today function, hit Enter, and you can see here's the current date. So what I want to do is I want to find out the difference between the future date and today's current date. So I'm going to build a formula over here using the equal symbol, click on the future date, and subtract today's date. Hit Enter, and you can see there's 137 days. When I open the spreadsheet up tomorrow, it'll have the number 136. So we'll be counting down until we get to the future date.
Now from this video, you not only learned how to get the current date from the today's function, but also you learned how to calculate the difference between two dates or how to count down to a future date. If there is any difficulty or any confusion, I would like to play another video of today function that is very simple, that is very clear. But along that, I would like to introduce here another function of Microsoft Excel as well, that is now function. It's a function of Microsoft Excel that is identical with today function, except it returns the current time with current date. Today function is used to return the current date only, and now function is used to return the current time with current date. One thing keep in mind that in some countries the date is displayed differently. Sometimes you may see it in this format, that the day comes earlier and the month comes later, or sometimes you see A month comes earlier, day comes later. So don't worry if you see any difference, or maybe in any other format you see. These all are the same, only format is different and you can understand. Let's watch the video of now and today both. That's very simple and very much interesting.
Now function in Excel. There are many date and time functions in Excel, and now function is one of the most commonly used date and time function, which is usually used to return the current date and time to a worksheet by reading the computer's serial date. It returns the serial number of the current date and time and automatically changes the cell format from general to date and time format as per regional setting is set on your system. Like today function, this function also takes no argument at all, but the empty parentheses are required, and it is a volatile function, which means it gets recalculated whenever Excel calculates. It is good, but on the other side it may slow down your work as well if you are working on large amount of data. However, you can change the calculation settings if you don't want function to be updated or calculated every time when Excel recalculates. Anyway, we go to Excel worksheet and we enter now function in cell B9 preceded by an equal to sign, and then hit tab 2 to complete. As we mentioned earlier, this function does not take any argument but requires parenthesis to print the current date and time. So we close the parenthesis and hit enter. The moment we hit enter, we get current date and time according to the system's date and time. You may easily change the date and time format of the cell if you don't like the default date and time format, or in case the cell is pre-formatted to display any other format than that, simply go to format cells, custom, and here you can choose the format according to the requirement. Alright, escape. In the next example, we will ask function to return 6 hours ago date and time. So we enter now function in cell B10 and hit tab 2 to complete, and then close the parenthesis. After that, we put minus sign and then we enter 0.25, which represent the time 6 hours. As we know that in Excel, times are stored as decimals between 0 and 1, which represent the proportion of the day. Or you can also enter the time calculation formula, which is 1 divided by 24 multiply with number of hours you need, and as we need 6 hours to subtract here, so we type 6 in the parenthesis and hit enter. As soon as we hit enter, function returns with 6 hours ago date and time in cell B10. Similarly, we can ask function to return 12 hours ago date and time by changing the subtract value in the cell. So we type 12 here and then hit enter. In the next example, we will ask function to return with 7 days and 15 hours future date and time in cell B12. So we enter now function and we open and close the parenthesis, and then we add 7 and again we enter plus sign and then open the parenthesis and type the time calculation formula to get 15 hours to be added. So we type 1 divided by 24 multiply by 15 and close the parenthesis and hit enter. As soon as we hit enter, function returns with 7 days 15 hours future date and times from now. Likewise, you can play with this function and can add or subtract the dates and time as per the requirement. But in case you are looking for static date and time entries in a worksheet which should not change when any change is made to the worksheet, you can use the keyboard shortcut control semicolon to return the current date and control plus shift plus colon to get the current time. Well, this is how you can use now function.
Well, till here you have learned count function, today function, now function, their uses, syntax, how to insert formula yourself, how to go from the home tab, from the auto sum and use this formula. Beside these, you have learned the shortcut key, how to insert date into your cell, how to insert date and time into your cell. We will continue the rest of the objectives that are concatenate and len function of Microsoft Excel in the next class. Till here, if you have any question, any confusion, you can ask me now.